Howdy. How's everyone doing today as we're bringing everybody in?
Great. How are you?
I'm Frank Reneski from Southern New Jersey. And who are you?
I'm Tara Desiderio. I am the very proud principal at West Coastville Elementary School out of Allentown, Pennsylvania.
And right below us in our Brady Bunch triangle is some dude from Colorado who really—
That's right. You know me.
Take Hump Day to a new level.
That's right. Absolutely. Taking Hump Day to a new level this week, hanging out with Larry the Camel. I'm Darren Peppard, superintendent, speaker, author, jack of all trades, carburetor changer. I'm telling you, I just got finished changing a carburetor. There's nothing I can't do. Well, let me try and start the snow thrower, and then I'll tell you if there's nothing I can't do. So, Tara, wow, so super cool to have you on the show. Usually I'm kicking it with you on a Tuesday morning.
You
with
bet.
Mastermind. So awesome to have you here on the show. And Frank, it's good to see you, my friend. Always great to catch up.
Yeah, I know, brother. I'm coming out strong. I'm about 75%, but you know, a good 75% for me is like 150% for a lot of other people. I can tell you that. If you are on any social media at all, especially Twitter, and you are looking up an educational chat of any kind, you're going to see Tara pop in at some point. So you are an edu star, Tara, in addition to being a principal, in addition to being a mom and a wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how did that all social media Twitter thing happen for you?
You know, a few years ago, I was introduced to Twitter, and I remember thinking it was probably one of the scariest places ever. I'm like, how do I tweet this right? What am I hashtagging it? How do you do this? And it was like anxiety filled. Like, am I going to put the wrong thing? I'm going to tag the wrong person. I'm going to put the wrong hashtag. And I remember joking with my friends. I'm like, check this. And now it's like where I live. I'm like, I can't imagine not doing it in a day. But I think that the one thing is about being so involved with our professional learning network, just being there and listening to everybody and surrounding yourself with great people. Once you find your tribe, I keep saying, I'm like, find your tribe and love them hard, because this is like, it is the very best professional development and learning experiences I think I've ever experienced was being on Twitter over the last few years. And I'm very proud to be part of our Culture Ed team. On Tuesday nights, we have a chat at 9:00, and Education Never Dies team. And we have our chat just tonight about 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So excited to do that. And then every other week, I'm part of the Future Ready chat, which is all part of the Future Ready Network. And I'm one of their principal advisors, and proud to be there too.
Dang.
Well,
so
our half an hour is just about up now that Terry told us.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
You should definitely be on Twitter. That's the lesson. You should definitely be there.
Yeah. Wow. How do you get all of that into your 160 characters, Tara? That's what, or 240, I guess it is now. That's what I want to know.
It is. Hashtag.
Yeah. So yeah. No. Yeah. A lot of hashtags. So Tara, tell us, outside of all that kind of stuff, just let's step into the principal role for a little bit, wear that principal hat for us.
Okay.
I just heard this question a couple of minutes ago. We talk about social media. Voxer now is another one that, if you don't know the term Voxer debt, you're not doing Voxer right. And I'm always in Voxer debt. I'm just like constantly trying to catch up. So, one of our fellow PLN members, Maria Montroni, asked this question tonight in a Voxer chat. So I'm just going to throw that right to you. And Frank, I'm going to throw it to you as well, because I thought it was an awesome, awesome question. So Tara, here we go. Principal hat on. The best, the hardest, the weirdest part of your day. Go.
The best part of my day by far is being around our munchkins, just being surrounded by all our little faces and having them we're so blessed that we have our kids back in a hybrid setting. So even though we've got about half of them back, it's great to have them there and to see them learning and just to see how wide-eyed they are and excited to be there and excited to learn and how resilient they've been to adapting in this pandemic. So that is definitely by far the best part of my day. Worst part of my day? I never focus on the negatives. I have a hard time saying that there's a worst part of my day. I was just telling Frank before that anytime anyone says there's a problem, I say, oh, it's only an opportunity. Like, it's an opportunity for us to grow and learn together. So I try to really fix my lens so that I'm seeing positives more often than not. Hardest part of my day is probably just trying to get it all in. Making sure that that our team has what they need and our kids have what they need and our parents feel fulfilled because they have lots of questions and everybody is just, wondering about a lot of things. So just making sure everybody feels like they've got their answers and they feel valued. I think that's just managing time might be the hardest part of the day. Weirdest part of the day? Trying to think of, it has to be a funny thing that has happened lately. There was nothing really weird that happened today. I'm trying to think of some funny things. We have funny things happen all the time. I mean, we're in an elementary school and we've got kindergarten kids and we've got
Nobody
friends.
brought a camel to school? You didn't have a camel at your school?
We did not have a camel in our school today. We did have a very, very kind parent who dropped off 100 donuts, all pre-wrapped so that we could give them all out. Like, hooray for our amazing parents who are supporting our teachers. So I can say that I didn't realize how heavy 2 boxes of 100 donuts are when they're like those ginormous bakery donuts. That was the strangest part of my day, managing getting in 2 ginormous boxes of donuts. That was the weirdest part of my day today. So it's pretty good.
And I noticed you're talking like a kindergartner, when that ginormous.
Ginormous.
I didn't find it, but you ask any kindergartner what that meant. Bam.
Oh, yeah.
Ginormous.
Yeah. I can give you an exact definition, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Frank, what about you, man? Come on, jump in on this. What do you got for your weirdest party? Any of those 3. You don't even have to do all 3.
Weirdest part of my day is, in the middle of the night, was after midnight. And, I'm just laying back in my memory foam, kicking it totally in the REM zone. And somebody sticks a foot, my dog sticks her foot in my mouth. And I'm like, oh, wow, man, you really just ruined it for me. Yeah. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is weird. Yeah. I'll throw this one in there. And these are not any of the 3 answers I gave in this particular Voxer chat, but this one also just came to me. So we have an early childhood center. So my district, we've got everybody from 6 weeks old through seniors in high school. And so I was in the early childhood center and one of our teachers had toddlers outside and Baby Shark was playing. And oh my God, I could not get that song out of my head.
Yes.
Then I went into the cafeteria and Kinder was just leaving. And I think we still had preschool and maybe 2nd grade in there. And our cafeteria ladies had Walking on Sunshine, like blaring in the cafeteria. And so I went in with Baby Shark stuck in my head and walked out with Walking on Sunshine stuck in my head. And I mean, that's definitely an upgrade as far as songs to be stuck in your head. But that's about the best I can do for the weirdest part of my day.
So. Come on.
Darren, what was the best part of your day?
The best part of my day, I'll be honest with you, was you could easily say it was probably one of the worst, but I think it was the best. We had a couple of employees who left. Not necessarily in great terms. And I was listening, again, back to Voxer. I was listening to Voxer in this particular group I was in this morning, and the group was talking about apologizing and about not just saying I'm sorry, but about really owning it and saying, I was wrong. And so with these 2 particular employees, there were some signs there that it wasn't just them. And I felt like I should have done more. So I had my HR director call them both this morning. Hey, can you guys come in? They came in, had a conversation with them, and I told them, I'm like, I'm sorry, I failed you. I should have done a better job for you. I should have advocated for you. I should have listened, I should have given you a chance to listen to me or to listen to you. And, and they were both like, hey, we should have come to you. We're sorry, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they're both back working in our district. And just through that conversation, you could say that's a bad part of the day, but it's not. I mean, it's, as a leader, as just, being vulnerable and just saying, hey, I failed you. I was wrong. Let's work through this. And so that was the best part of my day today.
That's awesome.
Question for Tara. Now, you're not allowed to answer this question. They're all my favorites. What's your favorite grade? K to 5.
K. hands down. I was a kindergarten teacher for a very long time before I became an administrator. And I always say, if someone ever told me I needed to leave this role, which I love immensely, I would go back to kindergarten in a heartbeat.
And you would learn a lot, because if I don't know how long you've been out of the kindergarten classroom as a teacher, but well, we were speaking pregame, and observe a 5-year-old if you really want to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
They're honest, they have no box, and they just bring it, the creativity. And that's why we just landed on Mars. We're sending people up to Mars because of kindergartners.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never, ever, ever have the same day twice. It's a new day every day. And back when we had half-day kindergarten, it was a new afternoon after a new morning. You never knew what to expect, and it was always something fun and exciting. So, but I always say that everybody should have to do some kind of stint in kindergarten to see see where they start, see where they understand, and where they're at, and where we're getting them to go. And it's just a great big world down there that not a lot of people get to experience. So.
Yeah. So 4 years ago, go ahead, Frank. You go ahead.
No, go ahead. 4 years ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say 4 years ago. So, I stepped into the superintendent role, and I was a secondary guy my whole career. I worked for 5 years at the middle school level. Frank was a middle school lifer, spent a bunch of time at the high school level as high school principal. So, first day of school, my first year as a superintendent, the kindergarten teachers are like, "Hey, come down and meet our kids," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to the land of the littles. This is going to be amazing." And one little boy, I'll never forget this. I went into one of the teachers' class, and they were doing calendar, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna sit down." And so I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So I sit down on the rug, and Judy, the teacher, she hands me like this chair that's like this tall, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna sit in that chair. I'm gonna sit on the rug." And so I sat down on the rug, and and I'm not a young guy. I'm not 25 years old. I sit down, and I'm kind of like sitting on my knees, and the kid's like, we sit crisscross applesauce on the rug.
You bet we do.
And I managed to sit crisscross applesauce, and miraculously I managed to get back up. But that was quite an experience. You just got to love that time in kinder, and our kinder teachers, man, they're just amazing, aren't they?
You absolutely do. And I say now, like, I'll walk in anywhere and there won't be a chair, and I'm like, I'm good on the floor. Like, I will sit here, because that's where that was my life, is that you just learn to find a space and grow in it. So being in kindergarten is, I always walk in and sit right on the floor with them. So it's hard right now, not doing that, because we've taken up all our carpets and doing all these things. And so to get close to them and have those conversations has been a little bit different, but you know what? They're still the same amazing spirits in those little bodies, and we just have to keep bringing it out of them. So it's been great.
There is a lot of disparity between a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old. As a matter of fact, those 10-year-olds, some of them are even hitting puberty. OMG. Do they have any interaction? Do you have any mentorship programs? For
in a normal year, I'll call it. This year, not as much. However, we do have some of our fifth graders mentoring some of our kindergartners who need a little extra help with maybe their letters or sounds, things they would have done in person. They're doing, even if they're in the building, via Zoom, like from their classrooms, just because we have most of our classes staying self-contained in their own rooms. So they are able to Zoom and meet with them. They're reading them stories and doing different things like that. But in a regular year, we have buddies across our entire grade. So every grade is matched up with a buddy, usually, from our littlest to the oldest. And they do different things throughout the year, and they celebrate together, and they make books, and they do read alouds with them, and they just really celebrate each other. And it's amazing how much the fifth graders can learn from the kindergartners. It's just as much as they learn from our fifth graders. So they're truly learning from each other every day. So it's just a great opportunity to share that knowledge and help them all grow.
Have you been in the school long enough to see that 5-year-old turn into a 10-year-old?
Yes. I've been in my current building. This is my 11th year in the building I'm in now. It's my 13th year as an administrator. And I had taught kindergarten all the years prior to that, except 1 year in third grade. That's it.
So Tara, I got to ask, I'm certainly concerned about this. I think we're all concerned about it across the country, as far as teacher burnout during this time. And I read an article just yesterday that a recent study, 40% of all educators are considering leaving education right now. What are you saying to your teachers? What are you doing to support them to, to continue to build culture, those types of things, so that you're not hopefully losing those educators?
Right. I was actually talking to Frank about this a little bit earlier, and culture is something that I just believe so deep in my heart that is it is the foundation of who we are and what we do every day. And without a strong foundation, we can't do anything together. We talk about we love to just say that our school is one big family, and we need to believe that, and we need to feel that all the time. So in order to do that, you need to feel like somebody cares about you and someone loves you and somebody's there for you in those highs and lows. So it is a lot of making sure that you're around, talking to people, making sure you're available all the time. We do a Monday morning check-in where our teachers do a little checklist that says where they are, like on different scales and how they're feeling. And, even if they just need a piece of chocolate, or if they need me to stop by and say, hey, I need to run a couple things by you, I get it on that Monday morning check-in. And then responding to that is probably the most important thing, because it doesn't go unnoticed what they've said on that form. There's always feedback that comes off of it. And then we've even taken it to another layer where we're having them nominate their peers for great things they're doing and that they're seeing their peers do for them and do for others. And then we have a staff member of the week that has been nominated by our team, and we celebrate them. So I think just keeping up, we do a lot of celebrating, and we celebrate both our wins and our losses. And we always say we try to fall up from everything. So we're not falling down with any of this. We're always falling up, and we're doing it together. So I think it's just that whole piece of making sure that we understand that everything we do is important, that we do it together and we're supported. So we don't fear that I'm failing. They'll sooner give a call, or, I've had so many people, in the evenings even call and be like, I had a really rough day today. Can you walk through this with me? I could have done it a different way, and just having that trust there is huge. And that's what's most important to me, because we can't do best by our kids if we don't have our teachers in a good space to teach them. So we need to care not only about our kids and their mental health, but our teachers and their mental health. So whether that's a few minutes early out on a day, or wearing jeans all week, or, just buying them extra little treats here and there, doing different things. Like I was saying, we had donuts today, just making sure that they feel like they're appreciated and valued, and that their voices are heard in the troubles that they're having right now, because it's real.
You know what, Darren, what I'm hearing Tara say is that relationship building is an integral part of that
there it is
culture that kind of puts people in a place where they want to be. And who does it? Hey, if you create a place where people want to be, whether it's a Zoom room or a kindergarten class or a school building, then they go above and beyond with where they ever thought possible.
You bet.
For those of you keeping score at home, that is 44 consecutive episodes with relationships coming up. Just saying.
And Bruce Springsteen, was found not guilty on 2 counts today. I mean, I'm just saying we have to mention Bruce Springsteen too.
There you go.
Tara's favorite.
That's true. Yes.
From New Jersey.
Yes, absolutely. We do have some traditions on our show, and now you are now a part of those too. So,
excellent.
But no, Tara, you bring up such important stuff. I mean, right now, digging in deep and really, just locking arms with the people that we go to the building with each and every day. Mm-hmm. The more they feel that they're part of something special, the more they feel seen, heard, and loved, the more realistic it is that we're going to have an opportunity to keep them around. And it's been a super big challenge, I think, to do those things. So definitely kudos to you for just continuing to do that work, because it certainly makes a big difference.
Again, when you feel like they're your family, you can't help but serve all of them, So, and the reality is too, our teachers that have littles at home, and we're asking them to do virtual learning on certain days. So like those snow days where some of us are like, oh, good, we get a day at home where we could do virtual learning. We know how to do this well. They're thinking, oh my goodness, I have my baby and my 2-year-old, and I still need to teach today because mommy's home and they know it. And so that's not easy, and recognizing that and helping them to get through and realize how we can do this and how we could do it well, and just being transparent. Yep. My 2-year-old's going to be here with us, and he's going to learn along with us today, and just putting it out there and, working along with it is just, part of who we are. And again, when you are transparent with your families and know that you're going to work with them, they can't do anything but, just work with you, knowing, hey, you're there. You didn't take the day off because you have to be home with your kids. I'm going to make this work with my kids right here. So just that resiliency and celebrating them trying. I think it's all we can do right now.
I'm gonna amp up the questions right here, and this you may have to think about this for a minute. But Tara, what is the funniest thing you ever seen one of your students do?
Oh, I taught kindergarten. What can I say?
You could say a lot. That's why
I could say a lot of things. I don't know that a lot of the things are appropriate to share. They come in with stories. I always used to tell my parents, if you believe half of what they come home with, I'll believe half of what they come in and tell me, because that's, I think, like coming home to my own kids and I say, okay, this is for home only. We do not share these things at school, because I know what my 5-year-olds were sharing with me about, what mom and dad were doing and what they saw and what this, bringing in the backpack that maybe mom or dad used that weekend to go to a party and still having some extra supplies in there. All those things came into the classroom, and we just call home and say, hey, can you come in and pick this up? Kindergarten was fun because they never had any qualms about anything they brought in. Everything's a show and tell to them. So we got a good array of funny things that were brought in that we may have had to switch out for something new and find something in the classroom that could work instead.
There's a famous Larry Biddle quote that goes something like, I promise not to believe everything your child tells me happens at home if you promise not to believe everything your child tells you happens at school.
There you go.
That kind of sums
That's it. That sums it up.
Absolutely. That's right on right there. Yeah. So Tara, you've got so many things going on. What are some of the other things just kind of like outside of all of this? What else is Tara working on? What else has Tara got in mind that she'd like to keep doing?
The pandemic actually showed me how much I love my position. I knew I loved it before, but I kept thinking about what's next. What am I going to do next? What else am I going to, what can I get? What else can I get my hand in? And I realized how much I love being in a building with our families and our kids and our teachers. And I truly have no desire to leave this space. I just feel like I've found my home and I've found a way to connect with people. I think that's where people say like, oh, what are you doing next? What are you writing? And I love working with people. So I can't wait till we get back to conferences. I love being in a conference space. I cannot wait to present at conferences again. I can't wait to be in other people's conferences where I'm actually sitting and gaining knowledge with them, because the last year has probably been some of the best professional learning I've done with our PLN and learning all of the things that we've learned from each other. But I've also gained so many incredible friendships through the last year of people I've never, ever met in person. People I may talk to every single day and have never, ever met in person, that I feel so strongly that I'm like, I cannot wait until we can get in the same space. So I'm really just working on, the power of connection and where that takes us. Definitely a lot of conference stuff coming up, hopefully that they'll have them back in person. I'm going to start my doctorate in the fall, I believe. So, that's something that I feel passionate about, just like having the right time to start the next chapter in where we're going. And leadership just like runs deep with me. And I just feel so strongly about how we can empower others and how we can help build each other up. And that's really where my lens always is, just helping others get where they're going and feeling really good about that. So I feel like I'm in an amazing space right now and just doing what I'm doing and starting some new things.
And what you said about being in a building and missing that component of your educational journey is it's spot on. It's the same thing that I teach a class of 20-year-olds in leadership class, and they tell me that every single time. For instance, tomorrow I do a hybrid model. So yesterday was in person, tomorrow is remote, and one student who drives 2 hours, he commutes to get to the campus where I teach, asked me if he could come in and do the remote class from our classroom. That's how eager they are for that human connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
without question.
So imagine what a 5-year-old is, going through, because they probably took them a while, or they may still not understand this whole thing that's going on. I know some days I don't.
Yeah, I think it's every day. I don't. No kidding there. I think you hit on something just huge right there, Tara. We, over this last 11 and a half months, whatever it's been, we have, not that the PLNs weren't strong anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not that we didn't have a lot of great connections, but I mean, I look at how my PLN has grown and how some of the connections that I've made and some of the connections and friendships. I mean, even just some of the people, I'm looking over here at the chat or the comments over here on the right-hand side. And it's, there's a bunch of people right there that I didn't know before the pandemic started. And, I might've met them, I might not have, but, certainly I have. And man, when that time comes, when we can all go, we're going to need like 6 or 7 conferences to go to have enough time to catch up with everybody. Right.
Yes.
But, it's certainly going to be an amazing time when we finally get that opportunity to have that face-to-face and in-person interaction, because as great as all of this is, man, that's just the one thing that's missing a little bit.
We keep joking we're going to need to add a few days onto the conference just so that we can sit and talk to everyone before we actually enjoy the actual conference part. So, there's so many things, and, it's just going to be so much fun. I think Brandon said it, like, I can't even imagine, like, when everybody is in the same space, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Before we go into our final thoughts, and yes, the Empower Half Hour is your fastest half hour of the week. It's
it is.
Coming to a close. But before we hit our final thoughts, Tara, throw out there again a couple of the Twitter chats that you're on in case people want to connect further and deeper with what you are and who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So I am part of the Culture Ed team on Tuesday nights, and our chat runs from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Wednesday nights, we have the Education Never Dies chat, and that is at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
That's coming up tonight.
That's coming up tonight in just an hour. So you can join us there tonight. And then every other Thursday, Future Ready runs a great chat. And that is run by leaders across the country, and talking about great things that are happening all across the country. So every other week we do that at Future Ready at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So those are the ones that I am heavily involved in, although I love my Crazy PLN family on Saturday mornings. Can't get enough of them. We do Build Hope on Sunday, especially when we're doing the drive with Che and Pav at night on Sunday night. Cannot end my Sunday weekend without getting ready and listening to them. So huge shout out to them for always bringing us together.
Wow. Okay. That's that's all we have time for, Tara. So you can't mention what you do, but final thought. Darren, I'll go first tonight.
Okay, right on. Go for it.
But both of you guys mentioned this, and it's so spot on and so true. There are so many messed up things that we could look towards if we choose to over the last year, but yet there are so many positive and new and great things that we could look forward to if we wanted as well. And one of those things is the people that we've met over the last year that I don't know if we would have met if we were in situations like we are, like Tara, who's an edu superstar. Darren and I, we've known each other for a while, but we've connected on a couple different projects that really, I mean, I feel like, hey, wait a minute. There was a period of several weeks I didn't see Darren. I'm like, where the heck's Darren? But that's how we look towards positivity to kind of put everything in focus. So thank you. We appreciate having you here tonight. Peace and love always win. Go ahead, my brother.
Okay, Tara, I'm gonna go to you on final thoughts, and then I'm gonna take the anchor tonight. So final thoughts.
Perfect. Final thoughts. Just thank you so much for having me here today. I do think that when we actually come together and collaborate, that this network that we have formed on Twitter and our PLN is definitely one of the silver linings of this pandemic. Hands down, the people we've met have helped us grow in all different aspects of what we do. But also a huge shout out to our parents and our teachers who, honestly, I feel like the bridges between home and school have been stronger than ever. And if they're not, we need to get them there. But I can say for our school family, we feel more connected with our teachers and our families and our kids than we ever have before. And that can't be left unnoticed. There's some things that we have to look at this and say, now what doesn't change that we changed in the pandemic? These are things we need to stick. They're not new just for right now. They're really working. And how does that work moving forward? Just like, meeting parents on Zoom. How many more parents are coming to parent meetings because we're meeting them where they're at home or at their work, and they can join in those things. Those are things we shouldn't change. So finding those silver linings is definitely, if you haven't done that yet, sit back and really reflect. There are so many in there rather than just focusing on what things that we couldn't control during this time.
Oh, that's outstanding. My final thought, I already kind of touched on it when I talked about my favorite part of the day, the best part of my day. But, we talk about relationships all the time on this show, and it's absolutely a staple of ours. And often we talk about culture, and we talk about, making sure that people feel valued and making sure that people feel loved, and really knowing that there's never just a paraprofessional, just a cafeteria worker, just a bus driver. Everybody is an important part, and it was reinforced for me today. An important part of that relationship piece is when you're wrong, you got to step up and own it. When the apology is due, go do it, because you can build so much in relationships. But man, when you make a mistake, that's when you truly find out where that relationship stands. So when you have those opportunities, take advantage of those opportunities. Like Frank always says, peace and love always wins, right? I'm going to tell you, thank you so much for being on the Empower Half Hour tonight. Tara, thank you to everybody who joined us tonight on the Empower Half Hour. Have a real awesome week, people.
Thank you.
If we don't see you sooner, we'll see you next week.